So in lesson 12, we prepare for the idea of motion, which has been promised for a while. So we have some ideas of how to set up some pieces of motion. For instance, we know how to put formulas together, but we haven't actually gone through the whole process yet. So that's what we're going to begin approaching here today. Let's get some information from code.org.
Animated movies create the impression that characters are moving smoothly, but if you slow them down enough, you'll realize there are lots of individual images. Each image is just a little bit different from the one before. Speed them back up, and your eyes are tricked into thinking you're watching real-life motion. A very simple example of this effect is a flipbook. The key to animation, whether on paper or the computer, is that part of the drawing is changing over time. An easy way to achieve a change is to use the random number command to generate a new random location, size, or color for the shape we're drawing. Here's a simple program that draws a single rectangle with a random X position and a random Y position. If we run and reset this program over and over again, we can see that it draws the rectangle in a new position each time. But that's like a flipbook with only one page. To create real animations, we need to be able to string these pages of the flipbook together. In GameLab, we'll do this using the draw function. The draw function is special in GameLab. The commands inside of the draw function are run line by line from top to bottom. But once the computer reaches the end of the commands inside the draw function, it jumps back to the beginning and repeats the commands over and over again, as long as your program is running. Because the code in the draw function repeats in a loop, we'll just refer to this as the draw loop. Let's move our rectangle inside the draw loop and see what happens. Whoa, so many rectangles! We can see that a rectangle isn't just being drawn once anymore. GameLab is automatically calling the commands inside of the draw loop many times a second. In this program, that means that a new random X and Y location is generated, and then a rectangle is drawn over and over and over. You can place as many commands as you like inside of the draw function. For example, let's choose a new fill color before drawing each rectangle by placing a fill command inside the draw loop. Instead of always choosing the same color, we'll randomize by replacing the red value with the random number command. So in every frame of the flipbook, the computer is picking a new shade of red and setting that as the fill color. Then it picks a new X and Y value and draws a rectangle with those values. In a typical animated movie or flipbook, you don't continue to see all of the drawings that came earlier in the animation. Instead, you have the illusion of a single shape or character moving over time. You'll discover how to make that happen with the draw loop soon.
Okay, so let's get back on top of this here. So this is a prediction task here. So go ahead and take a minute and predict what you think is going to happen here with what you just saw in mind. Pause the video if necessary to enter your guess. Then come on back and press play when you're ready. So we see, looking at the code here, that we're drawing something in the color sea green, and then inside the draw loop we're drawing an ellipse. So remember, the draw loop, as we just heard, goes over and over and over again. So we must be drawing an ellipse over and over and over again. And indeed, when we press run, we can see that's exactly what's happening here. So in Bubble 2, they want us to take that exact same idea and extend it. So we're drawing that green ellipse again over and over and over again. But they don't want just a green ellipse, as we can see from the model over here and from the directions. They also want us to draw an orange ellipse over and over and over again. So we're going to have to mimic the code that we see here. So as you can see, we've got fill green and an ellipse command. And so we're going to add another fill command to draw the orange ellipse with the color of orange, obviously. And then we're going to mimic that ellipse command. And that ellipse command is going to have a random X and Y position. But we don't need these last two values, so we can arrow those back in to get rid of them. And remember, the number range that's acceptable is anything from 0 to 400 because that's what you see on your screen. Anything outside that range is not viewable. And we'll go ahead and reset and run the code, and we can see now we're drawing both the orange and green ellipse.